sit in the Fallout universe. Fallout's an RPG. This is a strategy game, so we've incorporated some new changes into the game. It's a brand new engine. There's a lot of new exciting things in it. One of which is that you have full control over everyone in your party. There's 6 people in your party. You can tell them how to move, when to fire, how to act. You have full control over them. At second, it's multiplayer now. So now you can get together with up to 17 of your friends, so 18 people total in a game, and cruise around and blow each other up and bang each other in the back of the head with clubs and miniguns and all sorts of weapons. It's also mission-based, and that's well, in that regard, it's a little bit more like XCOM or Jagged Alliance meets Fallout. So we've taken 2 of the most popular games, the Jagged Alliance XCOM style of squad-based tactical combat, combined it with the background, the universe, the characters, the weapons, situations of Fallout, and we have this 9-pound baby boy bouncing up and down. Some of the things in Fallout is that since you have full control over everyone in your party, we have a larger pool of characters for you to pull from. So we have 30 characters in a single-player game. In a multiplayer, you can create everybody. So you can sit down and say, I want to play a human with these stats and skills, using the Fallout RPG special system. Or now we let you play a Deathclaw, or a Ghoul, or a Super Mutant, or all these different critters that you only fought against in the Fallout RPGs. Now you actually get to play them. We've also added new enhancements to the engine. Like now you can cruise around, and you can actually kneel down and continue to walk, or even go prone and crawl along the ground. Combined with the new line of sight engine, this allows for a much more rich tactical depth when you're fighting in combat. And we also have elevation, so now you can get up on top of buildings and put your people in the sniper position and shoot down at everyone else. And combine that with a better line of sight system, a better fog of war system, and it's a much better looking and better playing game. A big change is the fact that for multiplayer especially, we wanted the game play to be a little faster than the traditional turn-based that Fallout was. So in addition to the turn-based, we've also added a continuous turn-based, which is kind of a real-time, simultaneous turn. Everyone gets to act at the same time, everyone gets to move and fire at the same time, but characters are still limited by their stats and skills into what they can perform in any given period of time. So it's a kind of a mix between turn-based and real-time. And you can still choose turn-based if that's what you'd like to play. We're a pretty big believer in letting the customer have a lot of choice in how he plays the game. Well, the story we've been pretty close-mouthed about because it's in flux, and as story, it's got some twists and turns like the previous Fallout game, so we don't want to give too much away. It is set between the events of Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, and it's set in a different part of the country. However, that being said, you will see a couple very familiar characters, and if you've played Fallout, you're going to get a lot more of the game than if you haven't, even though it'll still be very accessible, and even possibly more accessible to a new player, because the game design and the engine's a little easier to play now. Higher resolution is a big one. It's a brand new graphic engine, so we're able to support 800 by 600, or if you got the beefier your machine, the higher it goes up, and that just lets you see more of the map. It's actually kind of really nice to play that way. They completely redid all the graphics, and it still captures the Fallout mood very well. So, considering it's a brand new engine and all the new things that are going into it, it still looks like Fallout. It's not like that. Two things is having full control over everyone in your party. When in Fallout 1, it's a single-character, single-player game, and you get these NPCs and they join up with you, but they don't listen to you, or they don't listen very well. They wander around, do their own thing, and it's kind of frustrating sometimes. Even though I think, personally, as the designer, I wanted that experience. I wanted that these are their own little people, and they do their own little thing. But for a combat-intensive game, you don't want to have people running around not doing exactly what you want them to do. So the customer asked for full control over your party members. And also the multiplayer. People wanted to play against their friends. In a very event, story-driven, quest-driven game like Fallout the RPG, it's very difficult to do that and have the game act intelligently when you have a bunch of different people trying to accomplish the same thing. In a game that's more focused around strategic and tactical combat, it's it's a lot easier to introduce multiplayer. In fact, it's kind of preferred to have it because the best people to play against, obviously, is another person. So those two things, very big, very often requested customer enhancements, and that's the core of the tactics game. Well, the AI is getting completely revamped. It's a brand new AI system. It's a lot better about pathfinding. It's a lot better about choosing when and where to what type of weapons to use and when to use them. There's a couple things that we'd like to do. Have some team AI in there that we're still working on, but it's brand new AI, so it should be a lot better. We've learned a lot from the previous Fallout games. It's got a ton of weapons, everything from the melee weapons, clubs and hammers and chainsaws and knives and spears, all the the basic post-apocalyptic. I've got a 2x4 with a spike in it kind of weapon, all the way up through a bevy of classic guns. We're pretty gun heavy, both light guns and heavy guns, and we're going to have a bunch of those in there. And then we also have some more of the odd, weirder weapons: flamethrowers, rocket launchers, energy weapons like Gaussian weapons, lasers, EMP blasters, grenades. A variety of different grenades, and we've added new weapons like mines. So now you're able to use your demolition skill and actually set up a minefield, which could be a rude surprise if you're playing someone in multiplayer. And some of the really big weapons you'll have access to that we're focusing on later in the game, so I don't want to give them away. Q1 2001 is our anticipated, intended. We're hoping, we're praying, well not praying, we're pretty much on schedule, but Q1 2001.